Can exercise truly help in the fight against cancer? Not just by boosting our fitness, but maybe by directly strengthening our body's own defenses against the disease.
It's a huge question, really,
Yeah.
and one that's getting a lot more attention.
Absolutely. It's a profound question. And today, we're taking a deep dive into some pretty groundbreaking research that offers some compelling answers.
Welcome to the deep dive. Yeah, our mission today is to extract the most important insights from a really comprehensive systematic review. Think of this as your shortcut, to understanding the complex but incredibly hopeful relationship between exercise and the immune system in cancer patients and survivors.
That's right. And to unpack this, we're focusing on a powerful systematic review. It was just published in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine. It's titled Effective Exercise on Immune System Markers in Cancer Patients and Survivors, a systematic review. This work comes from a team, let me get the names right, Estela C. Oliveira, Inês R. Correia, Ana V. Bernardino, Megan Hetherington-Rauth, Sofia Boavida, Luís B. Sardinha, and João P. Magalhães.
Quite a team.
Yeah, you can find it in volume 24, pages 645 to 665. That's the 2025 edition, with the DOI 10.52082 JSSM.2025.645.
And what makes this particular review so valuable, really, is its methodological rigor. It specifically synthesizes findings from randomized control trials, RCTs.
Right, the gold standard.
Exactly. They're widely considered the gold standard of scientific evidence because, well, they minimize bias. They give us one of the clearest, most reliable pictures available on this vital topic.
Okay, so let's unpack why this research is so crucial. I mean, we all know the global burden of cancer is unfortunately on the rise. It's quite stark, isn't it?
It is. The numbers are sobering.
And while exercise is generally recognized for helping cancer patients, with physical fitness, body composition, maybe quality of life.
Which are all important, of course.
Definitely. But this review zeroes in on something, well, far more fundamental. Its direct impact on the immune system itself.
Exactly. We're looking beyond just feeling better or having more energy, important as those are. The core question this review tackles is how exercise impacts the immune system. Because the immune system's adaptations from exercise, they seem to play a crucial role in tackling tumor cell proliferation.
Okay.
You see, previous research hinted at this connection, but a lot of that evidence came from animal models or maybe studies on otherwise healthy adults.
And that's where this review really shines for someone actually going through cancer, right? It specifically sought to understand how exercise influences immunity in clinical cancer populations. So real people undergoing or recovering from treatments like chemo or radiation.
Precisely. Because their immune systems are already under immense stress, right? Their responses to exercise might be very different from a healthy person's.
Makes sense.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is that the systematic review uniquely focused on cellular markers. So specific components of both innate immunity, that's your body's immediate sort of frontline defense, like natural killer cells, and adaptive immunity, which is your body's more targeted, memory-based defense, like T cells and B cells.
So a much deeper look.
A much more granular approach than just looking at general health outcomes or, say, broad inflammatory markers. They wanted to see the specific changes happening right down at the cellular level.
So, okay, they sifted through all this gold standard research. What was the clearest signal they picked up? Did exercise truly move the needle on these immune cells? And if so, how?
Well, the headline finding is promising. But, and this is important, it comes with a crucial nuance. Out of the 20 RCTs included in the review, 8 observed clear beneficial results.
Okay, 8 out of 20.
Yeah, beneficial results of exercise on immune cells in cancer patients and survivors when compared to control groups. So this shows undeniable potential. But it also tells us that the effects aren't universally consistent across all studies or all situations. That's a really important detail to keep in mind.
Not consistent. Okay, that's key. But let's dive into some of those specific positive changes they did observe. What exactly improved when exercise was introduced in those 8 studies?
Right. So we saw several key immune changes that are definitely worth highlighting. There were increases in natural killer cells and K cells. Remember, these are like your body's immediate frontline defenders.
For patrol cars?
Kinda, yeah. Constantly patrolling for abnormal cells. And not only did their numbers sometimes go up, but so did their phytotoxic activity.
Which is?
Essentially, their ability to directly kill target cells.
Yeah.
Exactly what you want when fighting cancer.
Wow, that's powerful. So the body's frontline defense isn't just getting more troops, but those troops are becoming more effective killers.
You got it. That's a good way to put it.
It all stood out.
They also saw improvements in peripheral blood mononuclear cells, PBMCs. These are essentially your body's circulating immune patrol.
Okay.
And there were even signs of enhanced activity from dendritic cells. These act like the immune system's scouts, They identify threats and show other immune cells what to attack.
So more active scouts, too.
Seems like it. Beyond that, we saw increases in immunoglobulin A, IgA. That's an antibody important for mucosal immunity. It protects your body's entry points, like the gut and respiratory tract. So another layer of defense potentially bolstered.
Okay, so it's making the immune cells potentially more numerous, smarter, and more aggressive. It's incredibly specific. Tells us a lot about the mechanism.
Precisely. The review also noted higher total white blood cell and lymphocyte counts, sometimes general indicators of immune health. They found enhanced NK cell percentages and specific changes in NK cell receptor expression, which basically suggests enhanced NK cell activity and maybe a reduced ability for cancer cells to sort of hide from them.
Interesting.
Additionally, some studies showed modulation of NK cell infiltration into healthy prostatic tissue, suggesting a more targeted effect perhaps in certain cancer types, and even increases in platelet or thrombocyte counts.
Platelets? Aren't they for clotting?
They are, primarily. But while platelets aren't immune cells themselves, they can certainly influence immune processes. So the picture is complex, for sure, but the positive signals are definitely there in some contexts.
So we've got these potential positive changes, but you mentioned the effects weren't consistent across all interventions or outcomes. Let's really dig into that why. What factors influence whether exercise truly boosts the immune system in these patients?
This is where it gets really interesting. And the review did an excellent job, I think, of unpacking these it depends factors. First, the type of exercise seems to matter significantly.
Okay.
Aerobic training, things like walking, running, cycling, that was the most common modality studied. And it often showed the most pronounced benefits, especially in post-treatment survivors.
Ah, post-treatment.
Yeah, things like enhanced NK cell cytotoxicity, increased immunoglobulin A levels, and NK cell infiltration were seen more clearly then.
So getting the heart rate up seems to be a key player for many of these benefits, particularly after treatment is done. It's like restarting the engine, maybe?
Yeah, that's a good analogy. But interestingly, mind-body interventions also showed positive associations.
Like yoga, Tai Chi.
Exactly. Practices like Tai Chi, Qigong, and yoga also showed benefits, often in the post-treatment phase as well. For instance, Tai Chi was linked to improvements in PBMC cytotoxicity, yoga to increased NK cell percentages, and Qigong to higher total white blood cell counts in some studies.
That's fascinating. So it's not just about intense cardio.
Apparently not. Practices focusing on movement, breath, and mindfulness can also have a real impact, it seems.
That's great news, really, for people looking for different options. What about other types, like strength training, lifting weights?
Yeah, resistance training, surprisingly perhaps, showed less consistent effects on these specific immune markers compared to aerobic exercise, at least in this review. There were limited between group differences reported and combined training protocols. So, mixing aerobic and resistance, they showed mixed results. While some benefits like increased thrombocyte and leukocyte counts were observed sometimes, there weren't clear additive effects beyond what aerobic training alone provided for many of the core immune cell markers they looked at.
That's a really important distinction. Okay, so beyond the type of exercise, the timing of the intervention sounds crucial. You mentioned cancer treatment itself can suppress the immune system.
Absolutely. This is a huge factor. The review highlights that during active treatment, especially chemotherapy or radiotherapy, the immune responses to exercise were often less pronounced, sometimes even blunted.
Why is that?
Well, it's likely due to the powerful immunosuppressive effects of those treatments. Chemotherapy, for instance, can temporarily reduce the numbers and inhibit the function of crucial immune cells like T lymphocytes and NK cells.
So it's not that exercise isn't helpful during treatment. I mean, it can certainly help with fatigue or mood.
Oh, absolutely. Those benefits are well established.
But its specific immune-boosting power might be temporarily overshadowed by the strong effects of chemo or radiation. Like, the immune system is just too busy recovering to fully engage with the exercise stimulus.
Precisely. That's a good way to think about it. In contrast, studies where exercise was performed before treatment started or after chemotherapy finished, they showed much more consistent improvements. Post-treatment exercise, in particular, seemed to yield the most robust immune-enhancing effects.
So a real window of opportunity there.
It really suggests a powerful window where exercise can potentially shine in bolstering the immune system once the body has had a chance to start rebounding from that immediate impact of treatment.
And what about the type of cancer itself? Does, say, a patient with breast cancer respond differently immunologically to exercise than someone with prostate cancer?
Well, yeah, it seems so. The review noted significant variability across different cancer types. For example, prostate cancer patients often showed more consistent improvements in immune markers, things like NK cell infiltration and immune cell recovery after surgery, compared to breast cancer patients, whose responses were often more variable, particularly when exercise was done during chemotherapy.
Why do you think that is? Are the cancers themselves, or maybe their treatments, affecting the immune system in unique ways?
That's a great question, and the review points to several potential reasons. It could be differences in the specific treatment regimens being used, different drugs, different radiation protocols.
Right.
It could also be related to baseline immune function, which might differ depending on the cancer type. And of course, the direct impact of the disease itself on specific immune cell populations.
So lots of factors.
Yeah.
Okay.
For instance, prostate cancer patients were often studied when they were in a pre- or post-surgical phase. So treatment-induced immunosuppression might have been less severe compared to, say, breast cancer trials, which often involved concurrent chemotherapy. And chemo is known to significantly suppress lymphocyte function, making it harder for exercise to show a clear immune boost during that specific phase.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. It's a really complex dance between the disease, the treatment, and the exercise intervention. You also mentioned specific immune markers and how the diversity there adds complexity.
That's right. The review identified a really wide range of immune markers measured across all these different studies that can make direct comparisons quite tricky. And it's important to distinguish between, say, transient within group changes, basically, a temporary bump in circulating immune cells right after a single exercise session, often driven by adrenaline.
Like a quick mobilization.
Exactly. Versus sustained between group improvements, which compare the exercise group to a control group over time. Those provide much more robust evidence of true, lasting immune modulation. And only a few studies in this review actually showed those really robust, sustained between group improvements, which just emphasizes the need for more consistent research designs.
Right. And finally, what about things like the duration and supervision of the exercise? Or even the characteristics of the participants, like age? Do those play a role?
They absolutely do. It seems longer-term interventions generally allow for more sustained physiological adaptations, which could lead to more meaningful shifts in immune markers compared to just acute single sessions.
Makes sense. More time for the body to adapt.
Right. And supervised exercise, maybe in a clinical setting, often leads to better adherence and better control over the intensity. That could result in a more robust immune responses compared to unsupervised or home-based programs, potentially.
Okay.
As for participant characteristics, many studies involved older adults. And while older adults can experience age-related immune changes, something called immunosenescence, a sort of natural weakening.
Right. I've heard of that.
Regular exercise has actually been shown to counteract some aspects of this decline. So it suggests benefits are possible across a pretty wide age range, even if the baseline is different.
This has been incredibly insightful. Let's talk about the strengths of this particular systematic review, because it really does sound like it stands out.
It truly does. I mean, as far as we know, this is the first systematic review to comprehensively assess exercise effects, specifically on immune system markers in cancer patients and survivors. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And a major strength is its exclusive inclusion of those randomized controlled trials, the RCTs. As we discussed, that's the gold standard for testing interventions, minimizes bias.
Right.
And importantly, it didn't just look at conventional exercise like aerobics or resistance training. It also included the increasingly popular mind-body interventions, Tai Chi, yoga, Qigong. That's a growing area of interest for many patients, so including them was key.
So a methodologically very sound, covering a broad spectrum, but, no study's perfect.
Yeah.
What were some of the limitations the authors themselves highlighted, and what does that mean for future research?
Yeah, good point. Despite its strengths, the review openly notes significant heterogeneity across the included studies.
Heterogeneity meaning?
It's a lot of variety. Differences in cancer types studied, the stage of treatment participants were in, the specific exercise modalities used, how long the programs lasted, and even which specific immune markers were measured.
Ah, okay. So apples and oranges sometimes.
Exactly. That variability makes it challenging to draw really firm, broad conclusions about the effects of exercise across all cancer populations. It's not yet a one-size-fits-all answer, unfortunately.
So what's the call to action then for the scientific community? What's needed to get clearer guidance for patients and doctors?
Essentially, the message is clear from the review's conclusion. There is a pressing need for more high-quality studies. We need future studies involving diverse types, intensities, and durations of physical exercise.
Your data points.
Yes, and across different cancer types and stages of treatment. The goal is really to provide clearer, more consistent guidance, so that, hopefully, personalized exercise prescriptions can truly become a standard, evidence-based part of cancer care.
Okay, so here's the big takeaway from this deep dive, it seems. Despite that variability, this systematic review provides pretty compelling evidence that exercise, particularly aerobic and mind-body modalities, may significantly improve aspects of the innate and adaptive immune responses in cancer patients and survivors.
That's a fair summary. The potential is definitely there.
So it's not just about feeling better or managing treatment side effects, important as those are, but potentially strengthening a vital internal defense mechanism against the disease itself.
And this really raises an important question for you, our listener, to maybe ponder. How might a more precise understanding of your specific cancer type, your treatment phase, allow for a truly tailored exercise prescription? One that optimizes your immune response, transforming exercise into a genuinely personalized anti-cancer ally.
That's a powerful thought. We definitely encourage you to read the full article for a more in-depth understanding. While this deep dive is a shortcut to the key insights, the original source contains all the scientific detail, nuances, and references.
Absolutely. The full paper has much more detail.
And to ensure you don't miss future deep dives into fascinating and impactful research like this, please be sure to follow our channel and turn on notifications.